What up, what up, what up? What up, what up, what up? It's Big Cheds. Whoop-de-woo. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for hanging out here with me. Thanks for, allowing me to have a little bit of fun. I do like to play music at the beginning of my streams. And at the beginning of, a lot of like even the recorded videos I do. I just think we should try to have fun. I think we should, try to have fun, try to enjoy things. Music helps us do that. That's Church of Eight Wheels. That's my favorite jam. So let me know if you can hear me in the chat room. Folks, we're getting the stream started. If you're watching live, it's great to have you. If you're watching on replay, like many of you do, no worries as well. Hopefully we'll catch you on the next live stream. I think it's great that if you do come and you catch me while I'm live, you get a chance to ask me a question. We can talk about the market. This is, of course, on my YouTube at Cheds Trading. As you see here, I try to live stream twice a week, Tuesday and Friday. But here's the thing, if I'm not feeling it, if I'm busy, I'm going to skip these streams because these are extra, they're for fun. What I never skip is going to be, of course, Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst. I've been doing my market reports there for, 7 or 8 years, every Wednesday, Sunday night. There's a great team. So I encourage you to check that out. Of course, you know me from Twitter, where I'm at Big Cheds. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Of course, I am a partner at BingX, the exchange, and I've worked with them for like 5 years, maybe. I have a new exchange that I'm a partner with for the U.S. now, for all my U.S. friends. Check out edgeX. Now, you've heard of like Hype. So this is also a decentralized exchange. You can earn points by trading there, and they have an airdrop coming as well. You can earn tokens and stuff. So if you're looking for somewhere to trade in the U.S., check out edgeX. I do work with them as well. So we're at YouTube. I just got finished recording another long-form interview with a really smart dude. He's been in the game longer than me, probably, and he taught me a lot. So I'm really looking forward to editing it and putting that up here. If you go to long-form interview series, you'll see I started doing these again after a little bit of a hiatus. I took a couple years off. And I've got 3 interviews in the last, couple months. I've got a whole bunch of new ones lined up. So there'll be a new one that will be released, within a day. I'll have it out for you. Just as a reminder, I have published 4 books, and I try to make them all free. You can catch them, one way or another on my YouTube channel. The trading quotes, I'm going through and I'm reading the entire book, like one chapter at a time. And I'm, getting close to halfway through the book. I'll do the whole book here. You can check that out. I'm making all my books free. The Cancer Memoir has its own playlist, so you can watch that. But like Trading Wisdom, the book that a lot of you are familiar with, I'm reading all 50 lessons in the Trading Encyclopedia playlist. This is my brand new project. Not brand new, it's a few months old, but every single day there's a new video for me. These are 3-minute videos designed to teach you professional technical analysis, classical charting, Japanese candlestick theory. And I want to make it easy for you to digest when you want to know what's a pin bar, what's a volume cluster, what's a 2-level filter, what's a hikake, how to play a fake out, outside bar, 3 inside down. I'm recording videos on pretty much everything. What's the MACD? What's the RSI? How to do fibs, pattern failure, high and tight. You can see I've already got, there's already like 90 videos here released. I've recorded almost 200. So they'll come out one new one every day. Why you need to use a journal. This is a wonderful playlist. Check it out. If you're bored, more importantly, not even just bored, you want to level up your skills, binge watch this playlist. All right. That's out of the way. What are we doing? I got Bitcoin here in the weekly. I do want to talk about Bitcoin, of course, and Ethereum and some of these altcoins, give you my thoughts. When people reach out to me on Twitter and Twitter or X, whatever, ask me a question, I like to be able to say, hey, I just did a live stream, and you can kind of go, and get a sense of where I'm coming from. It saves me time. It's easier than me re-explaining my thesis every time. And then we get great questions from you folks. So while you're hearing my voice, fire up a question in the chat room, something you want me to look at. A trading scenario, something you're dealing with. So take advantage of being here. What's up, everybody? Good to see the people filling up in the chat. Good to see all those names. But let me start on Bitcoin. and get it going here. So we're looking at a high time frame, which is the weekly chart. As a reminder, I don't personally recognize any time frame higher than a weekly because, you know, we don't have an MA 200 yet. In classical charting, which I study, you know, in CMT, and I teach you folks, it's the trends, the MA 200, equally weighted moving average, the MA 200. We don't have that, right? Yeah, if you go to a monthly, you've got just a limited number of candles. So let's see how many we have here. Let's see how many we have here. Let's take this. Let's go like that. So we're getting close. We are getting close to an MA 200. We're going to need another 9 months at least before I start to use the monthly chart. So there's nothing for me on the monthly. I assume I could do a 2-week chart, but I stick with the weekly, which is the high time frame view, and it's a pretty strong uptrend right now. I mean, there's no doubt about that. You can see not only what's an uptrend. Of course, I have a video on that. You know, like what's an uptrend, what's a downtrend in the encyclopedia. And all my moving averages, by the way, if you want to know, you know, what these lines are, these colored lines, the MA20, the middle Bollinger, the MA50, I have, you know, videos explaining what are my moving averages and EMA versus SMA. That stuff's all here for you to help you get more out of my content, and then just with your own trading as well. And as a reminder, you're not supposed to, you know, emulate or replicate what I'm doing. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of value, and hopefully you can make your system work better. I just did an interview with a guy, and his system was totally different than mine, and I learned a lot, right? So that was fun. So what is the trend? Well, it's the MA 200. It's rising. You can not only look at the idea of price being, you know, above an MA 200, but you can look at the slope of the MA 200. Like, so you can take, like, it's a certain angle, like a percentage angle, right? So let me try to grab the tool and give you a sense of it. So like right here, it's like 13 degrees, right? If it was even stronger, it'd be higher percentage, like a more flat MA 200, right? So you can not only look at, you know, price above the MA 200, you can look at the price distance, you can look at the slope of the MA 200, right? It's a strong trend in the weekly, and just generally speaking, we're looking at a bullish throwback. Happy Friday. You too, Daniel. The little hang sesh. We're just hanging out. It's just me and you folks. We're generally looking at, you know, what's called a throwback or a bullish retest. And you can go ahead and review the videos. You just type in throwback. I have 2 or 3 examples here in the encyclopedia. It's just basically the idea that when you have a resistance level form and then you break it and you come back, you can retest it. It's a bullish throwback. And that's just more or less what we're looking at here. What's up, Martwan? Influence. Good to see everybody. So, you know, on the weekly time frame, we're not necessarily looking for trading levels, in my view, in my system, right? We're just kind of marking out the trend for strength. We want to know, you know, when the trend is strengthening, when the trend is weakening, and we can kind of use that to manage our risk. And that's what we're doing as traders. We're looking for opportunities. So it's just a weekly uptrend. Price is more or less just testing, you know, prior range high. What we want to watch for going forward, and there's, you know, obviously many different systems, but for me, it's important to watch the price and the MA50. It's a simple moving average, means equally weighted. And this is important. And it's also a little bit of review because I've been doing, you know, these streams here for a while, but the moves back to the MA50 held and started to lose here, right? Started to roll over back at the 2021 top. We lost the MA50. We're watching to see that happen. We're really nowhere near that at this point. We're really actually only testing the MA20, you know, which is just second level support. If you want to know what does that mean, we'll have primary uptrend EMA8, you know, secondary uptrend MA20, EMA34. I have a video on that in the Trading Encyclopedia, essentially primary, secondary uptrend. So we're nowhere near the 50, but we're in a consolidating phase, right? We're consolidating after an advance, and we're doing a bullish throwback. So that's setting the table. But you'd watch to see for something like, here's a swing low, right? A swing low is like a major low before an expansion, right? The price did like a nice high and tight breakout. And this is the low of it and expanded. And here's your swing high up here. So here's our swing low. You want to see that defended. You want to see the MA50 defended. So you've got a couple things you're looking at in the weekly. But, you know, if you're orienting yourself to trade, you're more likely working on the daily and the 4 hour, which I think are exceptional for trading Bitcoin. And if you're wondering, you know, what time frame do I use, I have a video for you. in here, it's, what time frame should I use? You just type in search and you type in what time frame should I use. I have the video here explaining basically in classical charting, but the gist of it is that you drop to a lower time frame after volatility when price is at a key level. So we can see the throwback that we visualize in the weekly. We can see it pretty well here in the daily, okay? But just doing this doesn't really do much for you. You want to maybe start to draw some levels that are important. So before I get to the chat room, and thank you folks for starting to fill up the chat with some interesting questions, keep them coming. I want to draw a few levels. So first of all, let's talk about the outside bar, right? Well, we know back in 2021, we had an outside bar with an upthrust. What's an upthrust? An upthrust is essentially just a false bull break, where you break a resistance, come back, you fail to hold it. And we know going back all the way to 2021, the beginning of the top, which at that moment was just a local top. Litecoin, everything was breaking out, and I was concerned locally. I was thinking we had a short-term top, but we had the outside bar, right, and the upthrust. Outside bar, basically, it's a classical charting term where you have a candle. Whether here's the body, let's say the wick, upper wick, maybe a lower wick. The next candle, regardless of the construction of the candle, right, body size, you have the entire range of the candle eclipsing the prior range, right? That makes it an outside bar. So let's try this one more time, and we'll draw it there. So it's like the entire range of the candle, it's an outside bar. And you look for clues, like with an outside bar, a bearish outside bar, you want it to close at the low of the candle. You want to see volume on it. There's all these context clues, of course. But going back to Bitcoin, I did observe, and I put out a tweet. And of course, I'm going to just, scroll through a couple of my tweets and look for stuff to talk about. But we did have the outside bar here with an upthrust. So essentially, we tried to make a new all-time high. We did. And then we had the outside bar, and that tells you short-term top. That tells you it's going to consolidate. It doesn't mean the top, right? Because we don't know that. There's no way to call that. You still have great price distance in the weekly to the MA50. You still have room to run, and all that good stuff. But we got really strong follow-through on the outside bar. Now, the outside bar, it's already played out. The outside bar is no longer a signal, similar to Japanese candlestick signals. If this had been like an evening doji star, right? Like big green, a star, like even a spinning top or a doji, and then a rollover. That's a short-term candle. You've already got your follow through in the outside bar. So the outside bar is notable, but it's already played out. The outside bar doesn't mean we're going down from here. That's already played out. What we want to do is talk about the levels that are above that we've lost. For example, 116K is a critical level. And then you could say 112K. My only thing with 112K is the price is chopping through it here a bit. Chopping through it, and even chopping through it here, making it a little bit harder to use as an overhead pivot. Now, you see we talked about a swing low earlier. Here was a swing low. The price tried to reclaim it, couldn't. Tried to reclaim it, it couldn't. So I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit. I do think 113K is going to be my overhead level because I'm zooming to a lower time frame. I'm looking at the structure, and we're just talking about an immediate, a nearby, local, overhead level. And I draw the descending supply trend. I apply, the two-level filter, right? Two-level filter. Again, what is that? Well, I have a video on that in here in the encyclopedia. It's a downtrend break, but you need a lower high break. You don't want to essentially just take a break on the trend line. You can just ride it all the way down. You pick out a key lower high. And here 113K. So 113K is my overhead level. And if you see, I put out a tweet. Let's see, pushing towards. So Bitcoin, a few hours ago, pushing towards the 113 overhead level. It's getting ready. And I drew the box. I drew the trend line, which is essentially a descending supply trend, and it's showing the price is preparing to break out. When you see me do this, it's saying, okay, break this level. It's a long, right? Because it's just marking out a two-level filter trade. It's very straightforward. But then what happened? And Bitcoin turned back on attempted two-level filter breakout. And we even have another outside bar too after the advance. So that's interesting. So the price tried to break out. It was rejected again locally. So you have And again, and I'm riffing here. I'm rambling. I didn't come in with like a script of what I want to say. I'm just kind of flowing here, and then I'll get to the questions. Keep them. I want more questions. You folks are great. Thank you for showing up, but you got to contribute. Give me more questions. The momentum in the 4 hour is down. We do have a downtrend on the 4 hour, and the daily and uptrend, daily and weekly are uptrends. So it's a question of, you know, this is a corrective or a minor trend. Well, when will it rejoin the longer term trend? And in theory, the MA200 can continue down on the 4 hour, and then therefore eventually the daily would turn over. Okay, nowhere near that. So like, what would it need to be for the daily to turn over and join the 4 hour, right? For the 4 hour to rejoin the daily and weekly, you know, we've got our 2-level filter breakout. That's pretty clearly marked. You could even visualize like an inverted head and shoulders. You still have your 113K overhead, okay? So for the daily to join the 4 hour, which would be to start to roll over, I was originally watching 106K, but given this price response here and this cluster of lower shadow candles lining up with this demand zone, I've been watching, and I mentioned this in Bitcoin Live Wednesday, I've been mentioning, you know, 107.5. So we have 107.5 below, to summarize, we have 113K above. And then I think you are looking at somewhere right around 102K as the next level if this fails. So we now have the weekly time frame showing us the trend. We have the daily time frame identifying trading levels with a little bit of a nuance by dropping to the 4 hour to identify this overhead. Okay, so what does that all mean? We're in a consolidating phase on lower time frames within the construct of quite a strong daily trend. Ethereum still looks incredibly good. We had the magnificent, you know, nobody's ever seen it, this beautiful, you know, descending, broadening, right angle wedge, you know, a breakout from that. And really the measured move, whether you go log or linear, again, 6,500 to 9K. As an example of, you know, when you have a measured move, right? Like say example, you have like a head and shoulders here, and you have a breakout and you take your measured move and you think, okay, it's going to go up here. The issue, you may have other structure here. Let's say you did like a bear flag right here and rolled over. You can't overlook resistance, right? So that's the idea of measured move, you know, with obstacle. And, you know, I have a video on that, measured move with obstacle right here, measured move with obstacle. And so with Ethereum, even though we have this measured move, 65 or 9K, you have the prior all-time high resistance. You can't overlook it. So even though there's the measured move from the broadening wedge, it paused at all-time high. So that's resistance. You've got support here. And very simply, Ethereum is pretty easy to mark up here because you're going to zoom in and you're going to say, if I get a shot, if I get a bullish retest, a throwback, you know, 39.54K, I'm jumping in, and you've got your overhead level. Very well described. And then the price is within a range. It's within a box. And you're going to get a very strong momentum clue, you know, based on what Ethereum does, the behavior of the price in relation to these, you know, to these levels. So, all right, what's up, Oceanic? Good to see you. Influence Roman, what's cracking, folks? Give me some chart requests. Give me some thoughts about the market. Tell me what you're thinking and feeling. All right, so Kunal wants us to look at Tesla. Sure, I'll look at stuff. This now we'll shift over to your requests. We'll have a little bit of fun. I try to stream as much as I can, but I have so many other projects. I'm recording the audiobook for Trading Journal. I'm doing the trading quotes. I'm working on the trading encyclopedia. I'm studying for CMT2. I'm trying to write another book on poker and trading. So, you know, and I have a property to take care of. It's you have to plant the seed. It's seed planting time. And so a lot of stuff going on. So I may skip a YouTube stream. So my apologies, but, you know, I'm here now and I'm really glad you're here with me. So what do we think about Tesla? What do we think about Tesla? How does Tesla look to you in the weekly time frame? All right, Kunal, thanks for asking. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Weekly time frame. It's bullish. It's definitely bullish. It looks better than MicroStrategy, that's for sure. MicroStrategy is in big trouble, at least on the daily chart, right? With the loss of the MA200. I've been talking about that big time major blow to the trend. And some of these like MicroStrategy and Tesla can be, you know, proxies for crypto. This is a nice trend on the daily, but you asked about the weekly, okay? It is a nice bullish look. It's price above a rising MA200. It's price above, a pretty important local momentum level around 260, 270. Sure, you have the up thrust, but it's a grinding higher type of look. You've got your rising demand trend as well. You can very generally draw it that way. And all that is pointing to momentum, pushing higher, grinding higher. If you get some type of a bear break, from this zone, I would wait till around 270, but it does look to be forming a generalized overhead around 350. The price is pushing up into that level, almost in like an ascending triangle type of structure. So Tesla looks good to me. SAB, or let's see, SAB, is it the same as a failed cup and handle breakout? Is what the same as a failed cup and handle breakout, right? What is a cup and handle? Well, a cup and handle is essentially, it performs best. It can be a reversal, right? But Bulkowski looked at it, and it performs best as a continuation pattern. You're going to move up, and then you form some type of a rounding bottom after a move up, where you have a peak, you have a trough. This construction can be like this, but it can also be like this in the rounding bottom, well-described peak, and then you do a consolidation after the peak, okay? Oh, I think you're talking about Bitcoins. We'll get to that when you said failed cup and handle. So cup and handle basically is just a big rounding bottom after advance, works best as a continuation, and then but most importantly, you just have the peak or the breakout level, so you don't need to overanalyze it. So is Bitcoin a failed cup and handle? No. Like, why? I mean, you hear like this cup and handle? Sorry, let me see. I mean, be a little more specific for me. Like where? Like here? I don't see any failure of anything in Bitcoin. So I don't know what you mean, like failed cup and handle. Maybe you mean something else. Let me know. There's no failed cup and handle. I think most people, when they're talking about cup and handle in Bitcoin, we're referring to this and this, right? Nice little bull flag. Here's your breakout. And you get your measured move, to whatever you want it to be, log or linear, 250K, 180K, depending on how you want to play it. A lot of people had similar measured moves based on this structure to like 130, 140K. It doesn't quite matter, the measured moves. Those are just general guidelines. But I don't know what you mean. There's nothing failed here. There's literally nothing failed about Bitcoin here. It just still looks really good. Oceanic, what's up, brother? Would you look at a Galaxy on the 1 day and weekly? Sure. Mr. Novogratz. I think I'm hopefully saying his name right. He follows me, so I don't want to say his name wrong. Okay. Would you take a look at Galaxy in the daily and the weekly? How does the structure appear to you? Well, this looks really good on the weekly. Daily's fine. It's flirting. It's testing and flirting with a loss, but still generally doing a throwback or a bullish retest of this level. I mean, this looks pretty straightforward. This is a nice mature trend. It's an uptrend. How does structure appear? What levels you be watching as a bull or bear? It's a good point. A bear would really, like to take these lows out. Okay, that'd be a big blow, momentum blow to the bulls. And bulls, you just want to see it hold here initially for a throwback, and then you push and you have your overhead level. Galaxy looks fine to me. Generally quite bullish. Paul, what's up, Paul P? Paul says, hey, Cheds, from the encyclopedia video on stop loss, you talked about setting the stop loss and sticking to it. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Positively. If the price goes down, but please elaborate on moving it up if the price goes through and makes a video. Yeah, so that I did make a video on that. That's something called a trailing stop loss. Now, I've already recorded this video, but it's scheduled to be released, I think, in like late November. Because I've already recorded, I think, 120 videos that haven't come out yet. There's a new one every day. So I've really gotten ahead of it. But I do have a video coming on that. It's called a trailing stop loss. And so here's the idea behind that. Let's say, this is a great question. So here's your breakout level. I like to use 100 as an example because it's just, straightforward. Here's 100. Here's your breakout. And let's say you enter in a breakout, clean breakout, not a throwback. And then I stop loss, 95 or whatever, okay? It continues, and you're like, you know what? I want to lock in some profit. You can either just move it up to a static level, meaning like a fixed level, like 105, or you can use a trailing stop loss. So there's like a percentage that falls along with the price. So if it trends, your stop loss moves up with the price. So what that does, at some point, if it does a scam wick, right, as you folks like to call it, or panic, dip, you're going to lock in some profit. So it's a trailing, meaning like it follows along with the price. You can use a trailing stop loss. So Google it. Well, there's a million videos on this. I mean, I made my own video. It's a very well, researched and easy topic to look up. It's called the trailing stop loss, Paul. It's a great topic. Hey, Roman, Sol still looking good. She says, in my opinion, it dropped it back a bit. Yeah, it's grinding higher. It doesn't have a straight up breakout feel. And a lot of people keep getting these early, really excited, really excited, really excited. It's grinding, it's breaking out and pushing back into the range. But what's most notable is this rising demand trend, right? More aggressive buyers along the way. I think as long as that continues, despite the choppy breakout nature, I think it's likely to continue. It looks pretty good to me. For me, I don't know. I'd love to buy back at 180. That's kind of the key level for me still, right? That level here. It's got some work to do here, right? For me, it's unlikely to just break out. This is just, it really chopped through here. It took a while. And there's some detailed consolidation in this range. You're not just going to break out through that. So it is slowly grinding higher. I think, if it starts to lose 180, I think that would be a problem. So I would watch that level. What's up, Chocolate? Good to see you. Chocolate says, hype, sure, man. Hype looks good, right? I mean, there's not much to say on it, really, other than it's a nice, solid uptrend. Rising MA200, I think it's roughly can be described as an inverted head and shoulders. You don't really need to name patterns. We just tend to do it because we want to feel like we have some control, over the price action. It's got your overhead level right around 50. Would want to see $40 defended, on the right shoulder and validation level. It's bullish. There's not much to say about it. I'm not going to drop to 4 hour or 1 hour. There's not much to really analyze. It's a grinding uptrend. If it fails to hold 40, maybe it's rolling over, but so far it looks good. Looks good. What's up, Chad? What's up, Kenny, James, Abdul, my man? Abdul says, I'm looking for an entry on Sol. Well, Abdul, if it drops to around 180, 185, I'd look there. Okay, Jimmy says, if candlestick theory is short-term price analysis, how do you hypothesize we just had a cycle top? I don't know. Who's hypothesizing that? I mean, I'm not, right? Like, I've not called top. You can't. There's just, how do you call top in this? It's just only testing the MA200, and it's just very simply, doing a throwback to the peak of an inverted head and shoulders. It just broke out. I don't know how you can call, who's calling top? It could be top. You just can't, there's no way to know. There's no way to know. Deep retracements to the 50. I won't know if it's top until maybe a swing low is lost, until we start to close below the MA50. I got really lucky in 2021 calling the top, right? But I didn't confirm to really know it until the failed breakout at 48K. And that's when I called for 12K, when we were at 48K, 40K. There's no, who's calling, so candlestick theory helps you with trends. It helps you with entries, but you can't use candlesticks to call a cycle top. I don't know who's doing that. So, Jimmy, I don't know who you're referring to, but you should let him know. There's just no way to call top. You don't have enough information. Pankaj says hello. Good to see you, Pankaj. Okay, so SAB says a full Bitcoin 4-hour chart. Failed cup and handle. Failed cup and handle 4-hour. Okay, like this, I guess. I mean, it's already played out. I mean, sure, but where? I mean, are you like this? Is that what you mean? I mean, okay, but what does that do for you to call this a 4-hour failed cup and handle? Or are you talking about here? I'm not trying to be dismissive. I just don't know what you mean, right? We have all the information we need from the weekly trend, marking out the daily levels, the follow through and the up thrust. We talked about the momentum levels. So we don't need to go beyond this right now. Okay. What's up, Mauricio? Good to see you, brother. Nice to be here. Good to have you. What do I think about the big candles in Link and Aave? Okay. Let's go to Aave. Both Link and Aave have been relative strength participants right? What does that mean? I mean, well, some people think, everything rises, it all rises, but it's different. If everything's rising, some stuff doing that, some's doing that, some maybe is this. There's relative strength. And, Aave's been somewhere in this category, right, with Link. Until like a week ago, Link's been cooling off. Big candles on Aave. Where? I mean, these aren't really that big. I mean, it's just kind of, look, it's a slowly rising MA200. Price on Aave is above this key level. Failed to hold there. It's in between range. Rising demand trend. You got some support here. I don't really see big candles on Aave so much, but it still looks pretty good. And you very much are at a spot where you could be taking along and managing your risk at like 300, 295, 300. It's actually a buy the dip level. A dip in an uptrend. Link, big candles. I mean, it's not that big a candle. Which one? Like this, smaller than all of these bigger candles, so it's not that big a candle. Link was weird though, with the big green volume in this candle, and then the price rolled lower. So that was strange, because this is accumulation, and normally you'd see price continuation from there. So this is almost like an exception to the rule. So we're heading back towards the MA50, heading back towards support. I think if Link gets to around 21.5, that would be a throwback or buy the dip level. Kenny, what's up, brother? Bitmine, immersion. Yeah, I think I had just covered this for Bitcoin Live on Wednesday. Here it is. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, it looks like it's heading to fill the gap here, the window, right around 37, 38. Slow bleed from there. I think if it fails to hold, I think you can give it a little bit more room, but it's not quite a bull flag. Like, it was a bull flag here, right? People are like, what's a bull flag? And of course, I have a video on that, the encyclopedia, but a bull flag. And the flag should not go on for longer than 50% of the length of the flag pole. This is now just a falling channel. And what you're doing now in both classical charting and Japanese candlestick theory, the window should be support. Okay. So we have an unfilled gap. Price gets down. It really should hold at like 39. If it fails to hold below 39, I'd probably say, all right, it's going to go lower. It is going to go lower. Maybe not all the way down there, but probably going to test, these range lows. And if this fails to hold, you're in big trouble. Big trouble. So you've already had more selling than you would want to see. Oh, there's a lot of selling here. There's plenty of distribution. The OBV is not going to be good, right? It's drifting down. You can see that. The on-balance volume being an index indicator measuring volume in green versus red candles, it should confirm the trend. It's essentially how you're measuring accumulation and distribution. You can also use the accumulation distribution index, which is an indicator as well. But this is heading towards the window. You want to see it hold there. Chad says Bitcoin sideways and down for a few months as it seems the trend takes alts with it and ready for late fall pump. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That would be under the thesis that we're going to do some type of a another throwback or retracement all the way to the 50, like we did here. So we're maybe here. But the one thing that's different for me is that Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin here. Okay, and I haven't talked about it yet. I've talked about it in other videos, but Ethereum is very much outperforming Bitcoin, very strong local momentum. And so, I mean, you didn't have that here at all. You didn't have it here, gave you more confidence. This time is different a little bit in that. So I don't know that I want to see another retracement to the MA50. I don't know if I want to see even, a very, call it a rising wedge break. I don't want to see that break. I think really probably best case is to hold here, from somewhere from here down to around like 102, 103K. I don't think we want to see a drop to the MA50. So it could do that, but best case is going to be to hold here or maybe just a little bit lower. June says, any thoughts on Hood and Palantir? Sure. I haven't looked at Palantir in a while. Yeah, I mean, it's just gorgeous. I don't know you don't need to be a TA nerd like me to call this a beautiful uptrend. My thoughts are this is a super, super strong trend. Really no warning signs at all. Local support around 140, 145. I think Hood was, I haven't looked actually at Hood in a while either, but I know it was super strong recently. Yeah, I mean, these are bullish charts. You can say, okay, are we doing a rounding top? All right. Are we doing some type of like a double top? Sure, sure. But double tops fail 60% of the time. They fail to complete 63% or whatever. So you're basically at the trough or the lower demand zone. So you want to see it hold here around 95 on Hood. And it's an uptrend. So you're more likely to buy here than anything, because trends tend to continue. All right. Mauricio, we covered that. June's covered Hood and Palantir. Thank you. We looked at Bitmine. Mauricio, you're welcome, brother. And Abdul wants to know, is Solana Ethereum in a buy zone? So what is Sol ETH? So when you type in Sol ETH, that means Solana versus Ethereum, right? It's which is stronger. If this is rising, that means Solana is stronger than Ethereum. Is this a buy zone breaking? Is this breaking out? No, it's a downtrend, Abdul. It's a downtrend. Price below a falling MA200. I'd rather be in Ethereum than Solana for sure. If this pair can recapture this major lost level, maybe take a sniff, you take a look. But it's more likely to reject here or reject here. It's a downtrend, right? This is absolutely rolled over. This is absolutely momentum rollover, okay? So I'd rather be in Ethereum than Solana. This is not breaking out. This is a downtrend. And you got to kind of fix your thinking, in my view, such that you're looking to fade a bounce here. If it bounces up to here, you look to fade that, right? Fade meaning you can even take a short on this pair if it bounces a little bit higher, 056 range. Oceanics curious about CRO. Sure. I think I have it in here as well. Take a look at CRO. I mean, that's pretty strong. I mean, I'm not sure what caused this, but there's accumulation. This is a bull flag. I mean, this is like definitely a bull flag. There's zero doubt about it. Doesn't mean it's going to like 100% break out, but that's a bullish. You can pull pennant even too. And the thing about names, I have a video on this, but the name isn't as important. I should get a t-shirt that says I have a video on this, because that's what I want to do. I want you to be able to like anything because in my brain, I have like thousands of like terms that I throw out. And I love for you to be able to come watch a video in every term. So I've got like 400 or 500 planned videos. But one of them is the idea that, we focus too much on naming stuff. It's more important rather than like get into a fist fight. Is it a bull flag? Is it a falling wedge? Is it a bull pennant? It's bullish consolidation after an advance, and trends tend to continue. And that's how you want to. That needs to be your default. Then you look for support. Looking at the structure, the volume. This is clean volume. It's a bull trend. It's a bull flag, bull pennant. No doubt about it. So we talked a lot about Bitcoin today on multiple time frames. We've talked about how the weekly time frame is quite strong, and it's just now testing the MA20, and we can very generally be viewing this as what's called a bullish throwback, right, or a throwback to broken resistance. Okay. Going forward, we're going to want to see the MA50 hold. If we get there, we're going to want to see, on the weekly time frame from a trend strength, you're going to want to see, 105, 106K hold. Now, when we're dropping to more lower time frames, we're trying to mark out levels to trade with, market levels to play with. You've got 116K overhead, right? That's going to be a short if the price can bounce there. It's a pretty well-defined loss support. You've got the 112K, but the price has been chopping through it. So I dropped to a 4-hour, and I was able to identify the 2-level filter with the lower high at 113K. So your overhead level, you always want to look for a good overhead level to rejoin the trend. And rejoin the trend would mean the larger trend. You're trading in the 4-hour, which is a downtrend, but you want to know if the 4-hour will turn around and rejoin the larger trend, the daily and the weekly. And so we mark out the 2-level filter. I put out the tweet to give you a heads up. I know a lot of people work day jobs. They can't watch a chart all day like me. So we're pushing towards the pivot, and I let you know, turn back in the failed 2-level filter. So I'm trying to keep you updated on the major levels. So again, 113K will be an overhead level. Below, key support, to summarize again, of course, 107.5 based on the recent price response. We can call this, I don't know if we want to call it necessarily a swing low. I don't know if there's been strong enough response necessarily call this a swing low. But 107.5, and if that fails, I think we drop back to around the daily MA200, which will probably line up with somewhere around like 102K. So that's kind of my view on that. I just want to remind you folks, I'm on Twitter at Big Cheds. You know that. You know I'm on YouTube. I just recorded a new long form interview. I'm gonna as soon as I finish, I hit upload in this or whatever. I'm gonna go edit that video and I'll get that posted. I'll try to get it posted today. I'm basically trying to bring in really smart people, and it's working. To tell me about the markets and trading, and so new traders, even old traders, you can learn a little bit from everybody. I have a lot of guests lined up. I'm trying to get one every few weeks to keep the momentum going. So watch those interviews. Trading Quotes, which is my third book. I'm recording the whole book for free. I'm recording my new book is Trading Journal. Hopefully you're enjoying it. I'm recording the whole thing for free in the Trading Encyclopedia playlist. So like every sample trading journal, all the emotional management, good trader habits, all the different trading setups that are in the journal. I'm making a video about them in the Trading Encyclopedia. Same with Trading Wisdom. 50 lessons. I'm doing all 50 lessons here. I already have 18 lessons in the Trading Wisdom playlist. I'm like, let me do it again. So I'm doing all 50 in the Trading Encyclopedia. You got to check this out. You can binge watch it, watch the entire playlist. I do want to let you know, of course, as you know, I'm a partner at BingX, the trading exchange. I've worked with them for like 5 years. I'm all for my U.S. friends who maybe can't use it. Check out edgeX. It's a decentralized exchange, kind of like Hype, and you can farm tokens. They have an airdrop coming, and to check that out, there's a link here. It's a link in the description if you're looking for somewhere to trade in the U.S. Definitely check that out. And of course, Bitcoin Live. I do the twice a week, Wednesday, Sunday night, full market report. You know about all that. Check out the public blog. I ask the administrators to declassify my report every, few months, just so you can get a sense of what I'm doing. I really try to make as much as I can free. I'm streaming here with you now. I'm recording videos like an absolute madman on my YouTube channel, and I want to keep teaching to help me learn. I want you folks to learn. I love your feedback. I read all your comments. I'll read a lot of them. I definitely miss some. If you sent me, like in this video today, if you sent me a request that I didn't see it, I'm sorry. It's just me. I don't have a moderator. So I'm just kind of doing my best. I'm here to have fun. What's up, Ram Los from Texas? What's up, Victoria? So I'm just happy to be here. When I go live, I'm really happy you folks join me. If you're watching a replay, that's awesome too. Leave me a comment or feedback, what you want to see for a future video. It's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna do some stuff. Matt says, what's the cancer memoir in the description? Well, I am a stage 3 cancer survivor. And then my mother also, like immediately after I was diagnosed with cancer and I beat my cancer, my mom got cancer and she eventually passed away. So unfortunately, I watched her slowly pass away. It broke my heart. It tore me apart, but I wrote about it. And so I published, that was the first book I published. You can see it on the wall behind me there. My very first book was Battles with Cancer, and it's battles, plural, not just one. But my idea is I want to help other people going through that. So I was stage 2 cancer survivor. I did chemo radiation. I talk about that. I talk about being a caregiver for somebody with cancer. And so I'm just like, what I do is trying to help other people, but it helps me too to talk about it. It's cathartic. So the whole book, like I don't want to like make money in my cancer memoir. The whole thing is free. It's me narrating it. So check that out if you're interested. So that's a great question, Matt. Thanks for asking. Folks, thank you for on a more fun note. Thanks for being here. I'm going to play some music. We're going to dance a little bit and we're going to send each other good vibes. Thanks, Matt. We're going to send each other good vibes. I want you folks to know I love you. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here, and keep all the good energy coming. So let's dance with Church of Eight Wheels, and make sure, I'll catch you guys next time I do this. So let's do this. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Be well. Big Cheds out.